Hello, I don't know the rest of the song. What is up, everyone? We are watching I Made Mario 64 from memory. And my throat is killing me. So let's just watch the video.
Super Mario 64 is an iconic game, and for good reason. This game is filled with tons of recognizable areas. Peach's Castle, Bob-omb Battlefield, Whomp's Fortress. It's no surprise that this game has established itself in the memories of thousands of players.
Now I got a triple test. Yep.
I spent countless hours exploring these worlds. But just how well the game by recreating Mario 64 entirely from memory. Well, okay, I'm not going to remake the whole game from the ground up. That would take way more effort than I'm willing to devote to this video, and Nintendo would probably send a group of assassins to my house if I ever tried to release it online.
Yo, release the game!
Recreate the levels, textures, and character models from
Bro, that's crazy.
I'm never allowed to play or see the original.
Bro, you know what I would do? I would even remember what it looked like. Oh, you guys are complaining. How about now? Is it better?
And the castle grounds have been reduced to a flat plane. Now it's going to be my job to turn this back into Mario 64. I opened Blender and began modeling the basic shape of the castle.
Chat, do you guys remember how Mario looks like? Let me see. If I had to say from scratch, he has, well, yeah, the nose kind of looks like this, except it's in the front, I guess. So, like, it's a circle, right? I mean, I guess, like, if you think of him like a Sonic character, maybe? So, like, okay, a big circle. So, think of a big circle, and then put a circle in the middle, and then have two circles for the eyes, right? I think he has blue eyes. Does he have blue eyes, or does he have brown eyes? I don't know. Does Sonic has green eyes now. Okay, then... is it underneath? I think you have the mustache underneath the nose, right? So you would have the nose. I'm trying to draw a picture for you guys, but I'm not. Look how you guys can remember what I did. Okay, so you got the mustache, right? And then you got the lips, I guess, right? So then you got the circle for the head, right? And then the cap. The cap looks like a cap with the circle and an M on it. Okay? That didn't help at all.
I started with the path that goes around the castle, and then I made the castle itself.
Oh my goodness. Like, you guys know what that looks
like. I exported the world to the game, and yeah, I think the scale might
I was my description made no sense.
After playing with the scale for a while, I finally got something that seemed pretty close to the original. My next step was modeling the bridge leading up to the entrance, as well as adding more of the grass around the castle. I also added some placeholder colors to make the level a bit nicer to look at before I add actual textures. This is already looking a lot better than before, and you can actually tell it's supposed to be the castle grounds now.
Bro, low-key effort. Don't start choking. No promises.
The roof, and the pond. Now that most of the level geometry is finished, I can start working on adding textures. The first texture I made was the grass texture, and the process for this was pretty simple. I basically just scribbled random lines in various shades of green until I got something that resembled grass.
That does look like grass.
This actually worked pretty well, and I ended up with a decent looking grass texture. And you'll see that
better grass than I do.
Technique for most of the textures I make in this video. After using a nearly identical process to create
oh my goodness, making it OCs with parents? What an original concept.
These few textures were a bit more involved because they're more complicated than the grass texture, but I was still able to create the stone brick and cobblestone textures with relative ease. The texture for the grassy hills was interesting because
bro remembers Mario 64 more than I do, because I don't remember any of this. Why am I even watching this video? Like, I be playing Mario 64 like this.
With all these textures finished, this level is finally starting to come together. But our, Mario is looking a bit out of place here.
Well, he don't got the red, white, and blue. Wait, he don't got white. He has the yellow. Well, I guess his skin is white.
Easily the most complicated
okay to say.
so far. Luckily, there's a few things that made this easier for me.
See, the nose that I was telling you guys about.
Modifier made it so I only had to model one side of Mario's head, which made the process way simpler. Second of all, I've already worked with Mario's model several times in the past, so I had a pretty good idea of how the geometry
See the cap? That's what I was telling you guys about, and the hair.
I got a nice looking head model for Mario.
That is.
Of course, it's still
I'm not even gonna finish that sentence.
So I immediately got to work on making textures for Mario's eyes, mustache.
He does have blue eyes. I called it.
After applying the textures to the model, it looks surprisingly good.
Oh yeah, so he does have white.
Seriously,
So yeah, red, white, and blue.
Look better than the original model, at least from the front.
Ooh.
The rest of Mario's body was much easier to create, considering it's basically just a bunch of segmented spheres. Of course, I did have to make the texture
Your
for the
cat?
buttons on Mario's
What?
overalls. And with that, our Mario model is pretty much done. Testing it in
Wait.
game, it looks good.
That was a nice
Doesn't really look
model.
anything like the original model, but at least it looks like Mario. Now that we have our Mario, it's time to get.
I don't even roll out the original model. I mean, the original had more polygons, no?
The trees are a bit more detailed than any of the other textures I've done so far, so it ended up looking kind of terrible. Hey, I never claimed to be good at drawing. The wooden signpost was just
Oh my.
with a basic model and texture. The model for the door was nothing complicated, but the texture does have a specific design that I had to try and replicate. I know it had these two panels with this sort of diagonal line pattern. Something like that. Now it's time to do something that I've been putting off for a while. The stained glass window texture.
I literally thought he was making blue from foster homes for imaginary kid.
It went about as well as you would expect. I was able to make an okay
wow.
peach and these flowers that I'm pretty sure were in the original texture. Then I added colors, but it ended
Okay, bro. With his memory, he's kind of making some stuff pretty neat. Like, I could kind of remember Mario. I can't say the same about Peach. Like, I would not have been able to make this outline, man. Like, the hair, I probably would. Let me see. I would have done like a big swish. I'd be like, whoosh, if that makes any sense. It'd be like a swish. Why is there like that stuff up here? Is that supposed to be a flower? Oh, it's a flower. A crown. I don't even think I remember her wearing a crown in Smash Bros, man.
Looking really flat, and it felt like there was some important element I was missing. But this is probably the best I'm gonna get. After this, I started adding the new objects I made to the level. I added the double doors at the entrance to the castle, and also made a new texture for the carpet in front of them. Then I added a bunch of trees on the backgrounds like in the original. Next, I set my sights on the moat, which is still empty.
Ooh, we on a boat.
Dirt texture,
We on a boat.
It's just been used.
Wait, that's a boat?
Texture.
No.
Then I started to work on the water texture.
Ooh.
I knew this was going to be hard because I had to worry about varying levels of transparency along with the different shades of color. My scribbling technique still worked for this, it was just a lot more time consuming to get something I was happy with. A lot of my attempts just looked like complete garbage. I added a flat plane of
That's
water
just
to
the phrasing we
and then
use.
I made the flowing waterfall. I think it actually looks great.
Potato. That's how we say it?
Around. And when we do that, we have to look at this horrible placeholder version of Mario's power meter. Yeah, I think it's about time I make proper replacements for these icons. The power meter is made up of two elements, the meter itself and the wooden border.
Hold up. Because Potato really had me. Potato really said, why every Latino person's uncle's named Theo and aunt's named Tia? I don't know why, but it's just like, bro, that's just it's a joke. But I don't know why, but I really took that serious because I thought he was like, for real, he's just like, bro, like, do they all have the same name? Like, I don't know why, but like, because like, every time like I be trying to say a joke on a chat, when like I'm on the road or something, bro always takes it serious. So I'm like, is he being serious right now? And it's just like, bro, for real. Like, okay, I get it. But but no. Speaking of which, like, I don't think I ever called my auntie Thea. I don't think I ever called my auntie either. I called my aunt Titi. I don't know if other people say it, but I like saying Titi. I do say Theo. But I I don't know why I say Titi instead of Tia. I don't know. I don't like saying Tia. Huh. Just something to think about.
Mario can have, so I had to make all of these. Then I got started on the wooden border. I drew a rough outline of Mario's head and made sure the meter was properly centered in the middle. Then I added all the shading and polished up the texture.
Why that low-key kind of look like a Yoshi?
With one HUD element finished and working in game, we can move on to the icons representing Mario's lives, stars, and coins. These icons
Bro, that kind of low-key looked like Yoshi.
In the original game, so I
stay
true to the original, and totally not just because I'm tired of drawing textures from scratch. Starting with the Mario head icon, I knew that the original texture was a render of one of those
Bro, I like how y'all's really having this whole conversation is being shown on the screen. People are getting the beef.
Just using the low poly Mario I already made. Since it'll be so pixelated anyway, you probably won't be able to tell the difference. I isolated Mario's head and set up a camera in a similar angle to the original. After rendering the image, I downscaled it to the proper resolution. I did need to clean it up a bit, but after doing that, yeah, I'd say it looks about as good as the original texture. As I thought, the
Battle Pass with Battle Pass.
Unnoticeable at this resolution. Unfortunately, I didn't have any existing models to use for the star and coin icons, so I quickly threw together some models in
Ooh, that's a nice star.
Again, the quality of these models doesn't really matter since they end up getting downscaled like the Mario icon. Now for the most tedious part of this project.
Wait, ooh, hold up.
I won't bore you.
Bingus.
I basically just had to repeat the exact same process for all 10 digits. It ended up paying off though because I think they actually turned out really close to the original.
Yeah. So speaking of the star, you know what's crazy? They really made a whole game called Staffy, the Legendary Star. How much bank did they make off of making a game about a star? That's just my question, bro. Like, when you think about it, didn't even have to make that much work for the main character because the main character is a star. It's a starfish, but it's a star.
Now, there's one more important icon I have to do, and that's the Lakitu icon. Unfortunately, my memory is kind of fuzzy on what Lakitu actually looks like, so I kind of just had to wing it. And I ended up with this absolute abomination of a model. My only hope was that downscaling the render would remove enough detail to make it look somewhat passable. Yeah, it still looks terrible. I had to do a lot of manual work to fix up the texture. Like, I realized he's actually supposed to have goggles instead of these big glasses I gave him. And I also gave him some actual eyes to make him not look completely soulless. Now that all of these icons are done, we can finally see what they look like in-game. And you know what? I'm actually really happy with how these turned out. I can totally see them being from a beta build of the game or something. Of course, we're not done yet. You've probably noticed that the level is still just sitting in this gray void. It's time to add the skybox.
Have you played Mario 64 in a while?
The largest textures in the whole game, at 248 by 248 pixels. In fact, they're so large that the game has to split them up into smaller textures just so that the N64 can even load them. Luckily, the game's code does this automatically, so I don't have to manually split up the texture. Although I did actually have to do this for some of the earlier large textures, like the stained glass window. Anyway, I tried to replicate the elements of the original skybox, with an ocean at the bottom and puffy clouds in the sky. And while it's not super detailed, I do think it turned out pretty nice. It almost looks like a painting, which is also the vibe I got from the original skybox. With the skybox in place, the castle grounds are finally almost finished. The only thing I had left to do was go back and add in all the little details that I hadn't done yet. I modeled the doorway to the basement and the vanish cap entrance in the mode. And also added the cannon.
I don't even know why I watched this video. It just kind of. I just kind of got invested into it.
Model for these butterflies and place them around the map. And with that, the castle grounds are finally finished. Now it's time to see just how accurate this recreation is by comparing it to the original game. This is going to be the first time I've seen how the original game looks since I started this project. And whoa. Okay, so I immediately saw some major differences between the original and my version. I think the most obvious difference is that the textures in the original game are just a lot brighter than mine, while my textures are darker and more saturated overall. I guess it might have been a bad idea to draw all of my textures on a dark background, but I'm sure if I had used light mode, then the comments would be full of people complaining that I blinded them or something. Also, it seems like I still didn't get the scale of the map quite right.
I can hardly leave all you guys. I literally hired it. You guys complain that it's too high, too low. It's never just right.
It seems like I actually got the general layout pretty close. Unfortunately, I did forget a lot of small details like the flags on top of the castle. As for the textures, most of mine turned out looking a lot worse, but I think at least some of them hold up to the originals. Although I definitely wouldn't say any of them are actually better. Out of all the textures I made, I definitely think the HUD icons turned out the best. I'm especially proud of how close the orange number icons look to the originals. I do think it's kind of funny how I ended up
he
making
flipped
both
it.
the Mario icon and the stained glass window facing the wrong direction. It just made sense to me because you usually face towards the right in Mario games. As for Mario himself, I really do think his face in my model actually looks a lot better than the original. Although the rest of his body seems about the same, if not slightly worse than the original model. Overall, I think this ended up being a solid start for remaking Mario 64. My memory held up pretty well for the starting area, but I'm interested to see what mistakes I might make once I try remaking some of the actual stages in the game, like Bob on Battlefield. If you're interested in seeing this project continue, then definitely leave a like on this video and subscribe to my channel to see more. Oh, and before you ask, there's no download for this game yet. I'd like to get some actual content in the game before I release it for people to play.
I bet you can't.
Like this project, then I'll definitely continue making videos on it. But that's about all I've got for this video. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.
Oh, pause. Bleep all you guys who keep doing that. Why y'all keep... Okay. So... Well, y'all stopped on the video because you guys keep doing the stinking... What's it called? Pyramid, guys? Yo... So yeah, I don't know why. It was interesting. I don't know, maybe it's because I'm trying to get into game designing, and I was just kind of curious to see what people do in order to do 3D stuff. My question is, would you... I guess because it had the Mario brand, but let's say it didn't. Would you guys play that 3D game? They made it from scratch, but they used the Mario IP. I don't know. So, this something. Whoa, why am I? Did I just become like a low opacity? Like what the heck? Yeah, sure. Dang. Okay. Y'all just don't care. Okay. Well, if you like the video, make sure to like, comment, subscribe, because apparently my chat doesn't. They just want to talk about hammers all day.